bringing you this week's workshop entitled Living from Your Vision. We will dive deep into the importance of having a clear vision for your life, having a clear vision of all that you want to be, all that you want to do, and all that you want to have in your life. And we're going to talk about how when times get rough and you're presented with challenges, that the vision that you have for your life is going to play a significant role in moving you through that powerfully. All right? Does that sound good? Okay, here we go. So, first and foremost, having a clear vision for your life plays a significant role in living the life of your dreams. It is laying the groundwork, if you will, or creating the roadmap to your dreams. And I want to share the definition that I've put together for the life of our dreams, because I think that sometimes we get stuck there. We feel like we're just too far from this life of our dreams. I'm in turmoil. I'm experiencing this. I have had trauma and this, that, and the other. I'm still working on loving myself. All the things that make us feel separated and far away from this life of our dreams. It's like this airy-fairy thing that is, I don't know if I'm going to achieve it, right? Sometimes we have it wrapped up in like having a lot of money or having a lot of success, being a celebrity. I know that our society very, very much highly puts emphasis on celebrities. But the truth is that the life of our dreams is relative, okay? And so I want to share the definition that I provided in my book, Meantime Love. So I've got self-love, now what? And I write, the life of your dreams is a string of extraordinary moments produced by you and for you that result from the process of self-love. Let me share that one more time. The life of your dreams is a string of extraordinary moments produced by you and for you that result from the process of self-love. Isn't that powerful? So in other words, those extraordinary moments are defined by you. They're what you say are extraordinary. They are what you experience as extraordinary. Now, whether that be a moment filled with love, a moment filled with peace, a moment filled with accomplishment, a sense of accomplishment, however you define it. I mean, really, it is relative. And often I think we overlook those moments because we're focused on the negative or what we don't have or our struggle. And not to minimize the struggle. Sometimes we struggle. But oftentimes we overlook or we miss those beautiful moments that really are extraordinary in our lives, because we are so used to focusing on the negative. And that's human nature, just so you know. It's not just you, it's not just me. Human nature is to focus on the negative. And so it takes almost like a reprogramming for us to just stop and enjoy the beauty of a powerful moment in our lives. And a powerful moment, again, is just one that's filled with the things and the experiences and the emotions that you want to feel, that you want to have in your life on a regular basis. So let me just give a couple examples, because I think it's really important for us to recognize that this is individualized. This is how you see it as beauty and extraordinary. All right? So I always like to share one example from my life that perhaps isn't extraordinary for everybody, but was for me, and really landed this concept of being present to a moment. So I have 3 children, and I have they were at one point all 3 and under 3 years old. Okay, so it was chaos at one moment. It's getting easier by the day as they get older. But I remember when I had 3 of them, and it was just kind of insanity around here. And it was like the first time I was left with all 3, right? You know, when you first have a baby and you have all this support to come help you, or even your partner or your mama, whomever comes to support you. But then they were gone. And And I remember the first time that one of my children listened to me without me having to repeat myself. And it had been a minute before that had happened. And I was like, did she just go brush her teeth without me having to say it again? Oh wait, I can actually go tend to this other child because she actually listened to me. And I just took in that moment. The beauty of that, the sense of accomplishment, the sense of love and honor and all that came with it. I know it seemed small, but it was huge to me. And forever, I will forever deem that as an extraordinary moment in my life. Now, not everyone has children. Not everyone can relate. Not everyone knows what that moment felt like. So that was just a great example of how this is relative to each person, because everybody's life is different, right? Some of us don't have children. Some of us do. Some of us don't want children. Some of us do, and we're planning on it. So relative to our own individual selves. Let me just give some other examples. Perhaps the first time you accomplished something that you really had been working so hard on. Do you remember that? Has it been recently, or was it a long time ago? But something you worked so hard on and you accomplished. Wasn't that extraordinary? Didn't that feel fantastic? What about the first time you got a degree, a diploma, some certificate? Didn't that feel great? What about the first job you got? Was it that job of your dreams, or was it just a step towards your dream job? What about the first time you fell in love? Beautiful? Not so beautiful, but at least that part that just kind of palpitates when you first meet someone that you really like. I think we can relate to that. But I share these because I want you to tap into some extraordinary and understand that it's okay to bask in it. It's okay to enjoy it. That is what, when we put a bunch of those moments together, has us be in the experience of the life of our dreams. So the idea of having a vision is putting together, well, what context, in what way will all of these extraordinary moments happen in my life? Does that make sense? And again, it's the roadmap. It's important to also recognize, like I mentioned a little bit earlier, that there are going to be challenging moments. There are going to be moments that are adverse, and some are within our control, and some are outside of our control. And when those moments happen, the goal or the intention is to grow through them, right? Grow through them. Learn the lessons in life, right? Oftentimes when we are moving through adversity, we learn something about life. And we also learn more about ourselves. Sometimes we go through an emotional roller coaster before we can see those lessons and learn about it, more about who we are. I definitely hear that. But the goal is always to grow through those challenging times and bask in the extraordinary moments. It is in this way that not only are we living an authentic life, but we experience our life as amazing, right? You ever talk to somebody and say, how you doing? They're like, amazing. Well, it's probably because they have things moving in the direction of their dreams and they're growing through their challenging moments and learning and learning and learning. Isn't that much simpler than having like this big, grand idea of what the life of our dreams should be? Right? Because again, society can trick us into thinking that it should look a certain way. And another aspect that is so beautiful about really understanding that this is all relative and designed by us and for us is that it gives you permission to start right where you are. Wherever you are on your journey is perfect. It's a perfect starting point. Does that make sense? So take a deep breath in, exhale, and know that you are perfect right where you are, just as you are. And there's a reason why you're at this point, I should say, of your journey. Okay? All right. Good. So, when we're talking about living the life of our dreams, we're talking about all areas of our life. Sometimes we've got things going really well in one area or even two areas of our life, but we're in breakdown in other areas. And what does breakdown mean? Let's not make it bigger than it is. Breakdown simply just means that we're not where we want to be, or things didn't go the way we wanted them to go. And so it's just information on how to move forward. Okay? And usually after a breakdown, there's a breakthrough. Right? So usually from a breakdown, when things don't go the way we want, we learn something and then we move forward powerfully. Okay? All right. So all that to say that when we're talking about all areas of our life, we're talking about our career. We're talking about our finances. We're talking about an education. We're talking about intimate relationship. We're talking about family. We're talking about friendships. We're talking about our community and how we serve our community. We're talking about our health. And we're talking about our spirituality. So kind of all the areas of our lives. What do we want to truly be, do, and have in each of those areas? Wouldn't that be amazing to be able to have a plan, if you will? Like it laid out, well, this is what I want to be, do, and have in my health. This is what I want to be, do, and have in my career. When we don't put enough effort or focus on laying that out, and we'll talk about there's different ways to lay that out, but when we don't put enough focus and attention on laying that out, we don't have that map. And so we can find ourselves going in this direction, we can find ourselves going in that direction, and we're like, I don't know, this isn't extraordinary. And sometimes it's even just not good. Have you ever gotten a job that it's totally not a match? Part of that probably was by necessity, right? Well, I needed a job. But also part of that is because we don't lay out, well, what do we want that job to feel like? What do we want that job to look like? Do we want it close to the house so that I don't have to travel too far? Do I want it far away because I like to drive to work and take the air in? I don't know, you name it. But if we don't put enough focus and attention, then we can kind of be willy-nilly. We can just kind of like see if that works, see if that sticks. And again, kind of human nature. Human beings do that because we don't always realize that the importance of focusing on really dreaming out loud. Dreaming out loud means articulating it, putting it on paper, saying it to someone you trust, right? Dreaming out loud means I want this. And part of the reason is oftentimes we don't feel worthy of that. Well, who are you to say that you want that? That's a whole lot. And I'm not talking about people talking to us like that. I'm talking about we talk to ourselves like that. Yes? Have you ever been there? I know I have been there. In fact, I will give you a real life example that happened for me this year. I had gone through some tough times with my career up until this year. I was going through a dark time. It was like, should I just go get a job? I don't know if speaking and doing these workshops is gonna cut it. You know, I've got 3 children. My husband and I want to retire at some point. We want to save for our retirement. Is this gonna cut it? And it was hard. I was having all these conversations about myself. You're not enough, and you tried this, it didn't work, and you said this is how you want it, but it's not happening. All the conversations, been there, I've been there. All the conversations, negative conversations that we have about ourselves and to ourselves, I was right in there. And remember, I've been doing this self-love work for a long time. So why is it that I was so hard on myself? I think it was because I was not seeing results for so long, like I was doing okay, but I wasn't doing what I felt needed to be done in regards to supporting my family. And I learned quite a few things because I know to do my inner work when I hear those negative things about myself. I realize, aha, I'm doing that negative self-talk. What does this mean? And I learned several things. One, I learned, and this was in part because some of my mentors kept telling me this, but then when, of course, I realized it, that's when it hit. I learned that time in my life was meant to focus on building the foundation for my business, my speaking business, and my workshop business, but also, more importantly, tending to my children and making sure home is good. And part of me as a woman felt that meant I was weak. I don't know, probably socialization from, lots of gender biases and gender stereotypes and societal influences. But I got to break through that because I was on point with tending to the children. Then I also realized that I had these competing assumptions. And one was that if I work more, I will be away from the children more and they will be unsafe. Ooh, when I realized that, I was like, man, that's in my way. Right? Because I don't ever want them to be unsafe. And something in me said, well, I got to do all this and I got to do all that. And a lot of gottas, musts and shoulds. As if I was the only one that could keep them safe. But what occurred to me was that why do I assume that work must take me away from my children? That was another one. That I would go out and speak, that I had to be away and and if I got too good at this speaking thing, I'd be traveling the world and more being away, right? But I had this epiphany, interestingly enough, before shelter in place happened with COVID. And so I had already started building my business so that I could work from home. And what that meant was building my webinar series that I can do through the internet and online, and building my coaching clientele so that I could have clients that I take through Zoom or by phone. So building the business from home meant I could still tend to my children and take them to school, work during the day while they're at school, and come back. Then shelter in place happened and I was prepared. Isn't that wonderful? When you see how, when we can look at what have we learned and how are we not in alignment with our vision, right? I want to save money, so my finances were impacted. I want to have a successful business and impact many lives in my career. When we take a look at how we're not going according to that roadmap, we can learn a lot. And I hope that this example is supporting you in recognizing that. So once shelter in place happened, I had already had the skill set for doing the webinars from home. I had already started building my coaching clientele and how to build it. So I have steady clients over this time that we've been sheltered in place. I've even gone ahead and done retreats online, and they've been so powerful. In fact, I have a class graduating tomorrow night. So I say all that to say that now my business is thriving. Do I still have work to do to get to my goals? Yes. But here's the key about having a vision. It supports us in either living the dream or consistently and persistently, because it takes persistence. That was a lot of work and the self-discovery that I had and challenges, right? And persistence to move in the direction of our dreams, to continue to push, PUSH, persist until something happens. Now, I didn't want COVID to happen. Trust me, I understand the impact it has on this world. But it did support me in continuing to push, to continuing to persist until something happened. And it's happening. It's unfolding, right? And that's exciting for me. So let's kind of get back to these different areas of our lives and how do we take a look at what it is specifically that we want. We want to have a vision that feels so good, that the idea of it is so delicious, if you will, that you can taste it, right? Because again, there will be times that we had a rough day, a rough experience, loss, grieving, money issues, relationship issues that make us not want to come out of from under those covers in the bed in the morning. Do I want to I don't want to. Yesterday was too rough. I don't want to go for it today. Ever been there? I've been there. Remember I talked about that dark time I was there. Like, I don't want to go to work today. I don't want to do my thing. It's not working for me. But you want to have that vision that's so delicious that you will get out of bed and go for it anyway. Yes? All right. So, there are some simple questions that you can ask yourself. All right? You can ask yourself, what do you want in these areas of your life? And let me just go through those areas one more time. We're talking about our career. We're talking about our finances. We're talking about our intimate relationships. We're talking about family, friendships, community, education, health, and spirituality. So you can ask yourself, well, what do I want in all of these areas of my life? And literally, writing it out. What do I want? Then you want to talk about why do I want it? Because our minds need a reason. Our heart will get it. But our minds need a reason. So you get to write out, well, why do I want it? And I'll go into some examples momentarily. Where do I want it? Right? So sometimes we think, well, I'm here. I'm here in Elk Grove, California. This is where I am, and so this is where it's going to happen. But maybe that's not your dream. Maybe you want to live in Hawaii. I don't know, making stuff up. But maybe you want to live on the other side of the country in Florida or New York or something. So allowing yourself to just dream this vision out is important, and not limit yourself, because sometimes we limit ourselves because we only know what we know and what we've lived to this point. But you want to dream big. And I'll talk about the importance of dreaming big in a second, because it causes us to stretch. Okay? So you want to dream big. You want to talk about where you want it. Not leave yourself stuck in one place if that's not what you want. Some people are like, I'm here to stay. Love it here. All right? How do you want it? So do you want it in a loving environment? Do you want it in a peaceful environment? Do you want it in a powerful environment? Do you want it in a so how does it feel? How do you experience it? What are some of the ways that you know you want to achieve these things? That's the how as well. But really important to paint the picture of the experience. Like, how do I want to feel? How do I want it to look? All right. So those are some basic questions. And if you have this book, Meantime Love, A Woman's Journey from Self-Loathe to Self-Love, there are worksheets in there. There are worksheets in here that are really, really detailed. They go into questions about the areas of your life, like who are you in this relationship with? So if we're talking about intimate relationship, who does this relationship impact? Who supports you in this relationship? So in other words, if you're dreaming up your relationship, you just knowing that your family and their family just support it and love it. Why are you in this relationship? What does your intimate partner look like, feel like, smell like, sound like? Where are you in this relationship? Do you live close to your partner? Is it a long distance relationship? When do you see yourself in it? I mean, go deep as you want. Get as detailed as you want, because again, it gets to be so delicious. It gets to feel so good that when times get rough, you'll go for it anyway. Okay? So, the other thing about vision, just to kind of complete, I said I would talk about this real quick, is that you can write it out. And I think it is important to write it out. You can either write it out in freestyle, you can write it out in these answering such questions. You can write it out in a chart, but you can also do what's called a vision board. You may have heard about this, but cutting out pictures that resemble that which you want to be, do, and have. And that creates a visual. So I like charts all day long, and like detailed plans. So I do that each year to set up my year. But some people are more visual, and so they create vision boards. And I have created vision boards. I still have some up in my office that are from previous years, because they do work and they give visual reminders. You put them up somewhere where you'll see it every day. Okay? But remember, don't limit yourself. Dream out loud. And this idea of when times get rough, going for it anyway. And sometimes it will require us to stretch. And what does it mean to stretch? Stretch means to take it beyond your comfort zone. If we stay comfortable, we're going to achieve mostly more of what we already have. If we're willing to get uncomfortable, it pushes us out into the unknown zone of what we are actually capable of. We start seeing ourselves get innovative, creative, persistent, consistent, and we start owning our power. So it's really important to stretch, right? Do that thing that makes your knees shake. Go for it anyway. Do whatever it takes to have that vision turn out. Because the truth is, you are totally, totally worth it. Got it? So there you have it. The importance of living from your